All right, before we get the show started, I have to give a huge shout out to a special group of individuals that I like to call my Patreon podcast producers. And you know what? They're all on Instagram, so make sure you give them a follow. Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Kaitlyn at Kaitlyn Elise, put 3 Y's in her name, Crystal at Reduced Fat Mama, Joey at Joey Losing Weight, Vanessa at Vanessa Ray's Journey, and Amanda at Mutts_and_miles. These guys are helping this show to move forward in a huge, huge way. And if you want to join this special group of individuals, make sure you stay tuned at the very end of the show for more details. Are you Team Apple? I got to shout out all of you checking out this show right now on an iPhone, iPad, etc. In fact, nearly 70% of you are listening to me on one of these devices. It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review. This is one of the best things that you can do for this podcast to help get the word out. And while you're at it, leave reviews for some of your other favorite shows. I bet they would really dig it. Hey, Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I'm awake. I'm alive. What more could we ask for on a Sunday?
Right? That's awesome.
And you sound loud and clear. This is going better than I thought.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, I'm just getting all my levels here as we just kind of get that little couple of words out of the way here. I was looking at something, and it has been, now you're going to think I'm a total geek for doing this, but it has been 590 days or 1 year, 7 months and 13 days since our last podcast, episode number 36. How about that?
That's crazy.
And I just fumbled the mic around. Sorry, guys.
That was the best episode, though, because it was the first ever podcast that I did, and it was in person, freezing our butts off outside, waiting to meet Gary V. So it's like, I don't think any other podcast could possibly top that experience for me.
Well, and I think you're right on that for a couple of reasons, but also for me, I want you to know, confession time, that I held out on having you back for the longest time because I had this like weird dream that like somehow I was going to end up back in New Jersey and we would do the part 2, because I was like, okay, 2 people met on Instagram, had never met until that day. And then we finally meet, we do this amazing podcast. And I'm like, well, you know, like you said, how are we ever going to top that? And in my mind, it's like, well, number one, you're probably not. But then number 2, like, how do you even bring it onto a phone call? You got to get your ass up to New Jersey and hang out with this lady and let's do it again. But it just, our schedules, for whatever reason, it never happened. And I've like, you know what? I've held out long enough. I miss talking to my friend on the podcast. So we're just going to do it. We're going to make it happen. And here we are.
Yeah. I know we missed each other a couple of times because you came over to Great Adventure, but
Yes.
I had work and all that back and forth. And that was honestly really painful because Great Adventure is only like 15, 20 minutes from me.
That is good to know for future reference, because I am in no way, shape, or form done with that park. I will be back because next year there's going to be a new coaster coming and I want to try that one out.
Of course you do.
But I'll tell you this, to put a bow on the whole part 2 that never happened in person. And I know you're either going to love this or you're going to give me shit for this. So here it goes. The perfect podcast part 2 would have been you and I in a Five Guys.
Oh, you and Daryl are never going to let this go.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to make more work for myself right here. Here is what happened the last time we were on a podcast and Nikki talked about Five Guys. I have a cheat day. I'm in team cheat day. Okay.
Absolutely. You have to have a cheat day.
Yes, but cheat day is on my weigh-in day after I get off the scale, right?
Yes, because then you have an entire week to recover from it.
Bingo. Nikki gets it. I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Yeah, because it just makes fucking sense. Like,
Yes.
Don't have that cheat meal the night before you're going to step on the scale.
Yes.
And then wonder why you're up.
Exactly.
It's because you face fucked some Five Guys the night before.
I've never heard it put that way. Oh my goodness, that might have to go in the highlight reel.
Yeah,
for
I
the
have
story.
a massive potty mouth. We've had conversations about this too.
It's okay. I just click explicit tag on the podcast and we're safe. Okay.
Okay.
We're fine.
Yeah, I use the F-bomb as punctuation when I speak.
Now it's just going to be brought to the forefront yet again.
Exactly. A whole new wave of listeners that are new to perhaps me or you or me and you as a whole are now going to get to relive that wonderful, magical Five Guys quote. And maybe we can get a sponsorship with them and all will be well. But I will say this, Nikki, the bigger question, 590 days, 1 year, 7 months, 13 days, and we can take this in any direction you want to take it or as many directions as you want to take it in the next hour here or so. But when you think about that 590 days, how much in your life has changed? This could be really fun. How much in your life has changed in those 590 days?
My entire life has changed. Wow. Okay. Yeah. During that time, I have moved twice. I have gotten a divorce. I have started a new relationship with someone. I have been traveling. I have started a new job and moved up within that job.
Like, okay. Let me frame it like this even. So like, let's just say hypothetically, I'm hoping you're a Back to the Future fan. And if you're not, then we can question our friendship. It's totally fine. But let's just say hypothetically, we were sitting in the Gary V book signing wine library parking lot. And all of a sudden this DeLorean just blasts out of fucking nowhere. Here comes Doc Brown. He says, Nikki, we got to talk about your future. And you jump in this car and you get to fly to this present day right now. Like, how do you even think like you would process seeing all these changes?
Some of the changes I would have seen coming, and other ones I would have been like, okay,
yeah,
we need to get ahead of some of these little issues here. But and that's more so my fitness kind of taking a little bit of a it kind of got pushed to the background while, trying to figure everything else out.
I can relate to that.
There always comes that point where you have to make a decision of what's more important right now. And yeah, when you're completely starting from scratch with certain things, in my case, it was going back to work full time after being out of the workforce for so long. A lot of this is also just my personality. I kind of feel like I have to prove something. I feel that I have to prove that I should be in the role that I'm doing. So I was putting so much energy into that I just wasn't making the time to do the workouts and stuff like that. Thankfully, I didn't do a ton of, backslide or anything just because I've been at this for 10 years. So thankfully I've conquered a lot of my big issues. My biggest one being that emotional eating. But, there's definitely looking back at photos of myself from this time last year to now, which is something I was doing earlier this week. It was just like, damn.
It's good to take all those pictures, right?
It is. And I was just like I kind of ebbed and flowed with like this anger that I let myself backslide because I had made such amazing progress. I was probably in my best shape I had ever been in. And now it's like, I have to start all over again. But I'm like, you know what? Shit happens. That's just life. I know what to do and I can take control of things from here on out. So that's something that I've been focused on for the rest of 2019, not looking at it as, fuck, it's October and this year is shot to shit and I didn't hit some of my goals, but no, I still have 90 days to work towards those and be in a better position to achieve them for 2020.
Oh, definitely. And I can imagine anytime you're like in a new like role, like you said, getting back into the workforce, that can definitely be, kind of taxing on the brain early on as you're trying to like figure out, scheduling and how do I fit all my shit in. And obviously we don't have to get like super specific, but like the industry you're in, like what, number one, like I guess like what industry are you in and how different was that from anything you had ever done before?
It's corporate. It's very different. It's a startup company.
Oh, okay.
So, startup companies they're great because they offer a lot of room for growth, for learning, for movement in an upward motion, which is something that I've done. I picked this job up. It was part-time. I believe when you and I met, I wasn't even working at the coffee shop yet.
Right.
I think I was still at the other, the other place I was working at. So yeah, it's just, I picked this up part-time, because I needed extra cash. It was close by to the coffee shop that I was managing. So I would clock out of one place, clock in at the other place, and,
hustling.
Yeah, I'm forever hustling. It's exhausting at times, but then it's also like I'm not worried about things. I'm like, I always figure things out. I always find a way. And there's something comforting about that. But yeah, I just picked this up part-time. There ended up being an opening, and the person who hired me was like, you're perfect for it. Apply. I got that position and my roles switched. I went from almost full-time at the coffee shop to this other position becoming my full-time. It was 40 hours a week. It offered health insurance, and health insurance is an important thing, especially when you're starting over.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, made this switch. 40 hours a week was cool. It was hourly. I was able to handle that. My last switch, the promotion that I received in end of June, beginning of July, that's kind of thrown me for a loop because I went from hourly to salary.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big switch because it's not just clock in, do your 40 hours and go home. It's a little more, they kind of have you by the balls and you're kind of their slave in some aspects of things. And it's like when they need you, they need you.
Yes.
And then it falls on me with having to create boundaries and create business hours for myself and everything. And, when you're new in a role and you don't quite fully have guidelines because startup company, they don't have a lot of rules and regulations in place just yet. It's
they're learning on the process too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there aren't a lot of solid systems in place yet. So you're kind of like testing the waters and figuring out, okay, it's okay to do this. Nope, that's frowned upon,
Yeah, no, and I think like hourly versus salary, I was actually in a position where I was salary and they did some like restructuring in my company and I became hourly. And at first I kind of looked at it like almost like it was like almost like a demotion in a way. Cause I'm like, oh God, I had this salary and it's like, if things got slow, like sometimes they'd send you home, but you still got paid or, something like that. And now with hourly, it's like, well, they get slow, they send you home, you don't get paid. And I always looked at that as kind of a bummer. But then I looked on the flip side. It's like, well, if they call me in for a weekend, I'm getting like time and a half. And so I guess there's pros and cons to each side of it.
Yep. There really, really is. It's one of the first things a lot of people told me when I switched from hourly to salary was to never do the math on what the hourly breakdown is for the hours that you put in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's depressing. But yeah, I'm just viewing it as a learning opportunity. I don't have the money to go back to school to learn certain business things that can be applied to just about anything that I dabble in. So I'm trying to stay positive with things by viewing it as I am getting paid to learn.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I feel like, if we can get in a spot where we're still learning something every day, and I feel like that's still the case for me as I'm doing like video editing even, but like just if I can learn something new every day, I feel like I'm ahead at some point.
Yeah, I mean, your evolution over this year and 7 months has been amazing too, just with all the stuff that you're working on and doing. So
Well, and
yeah,
I appreciate that, but I mean, I will say, like anything, it does have its drawbacks. You talked about how your kind of health and fitness kind of went on the back burner. I would say that to a certain degree, mine did as well. Not in the sense of I wasn't showing up, but more or less that, I kind of like stayed in a straight line as far as like not really going down. I probably ticked up a little bit. I think after I lost the little bit over 100, I probably put back on like 10 or 15. And then I kind of just stayed there for like the last year. But I looked at it not as something that was a negative, but more of like, hey, I've been trying to grow as much as I can in the last year. And that is extending myself into new opportunities, learning new things, trying to set myself up to potentially have a better career. And so, yeah, maybe the progress as far as health wasn't as fast and furious as it might have been, 2 years ago. But in a sense, and this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, I'm actually okay with that because, as a human, I feel like I've grown a lot. And to me, that's more important. And it's not like I went, it's not like I went up 50 or 60 pounds. We're talking like 10 or 15. And I don't look at that as like some huge negative.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't think anyone should hear that and think it's crazy or anything. It's actually good because it shows that you have evolved enough that you don't have to go to the gym or be as hardcore as you were in order to maintain the progress that you've made. And to me, normal maintaining is there's going to be some kind of fluctuation between 5 to 10 to 15 pounds throughout the year.
100%.
That's just normal, especially, when it comes to women and everything. It's natural. It's normal. Being able to maintain that loss that you had, even with a 10-pound increase, during a time when you're not hitting the gym as hard, you're, going through anything in life that might stress you out.
Yes.
That's huge when you can hold on to the progress, because that means that you've gotten a lot of your bad habits under control. Because for many of us that struggled with weight, it ties into that emotional eating. It ties into when we're stressed out or we've had a long day, going through the drive-thrus, ordering food, just looking for that comfort by stuffing stuff into our faces.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you've been able to take a hiatus from the gym the way you did, and hold on to the results that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I'm very thrilled about that. There was a time where depression kicked in and I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, I mean, it did happen initially, and that's going to happen to anybody, especially when you're in like one mode and you go to a different mode. And, I'd been battling depression for like the last month. I feel like I'm finally coming out on the other side of it now. I feel, obviously we're talking, I feel good today. I don't really feel like I did 2 weeks ago, but like, these things happen. And if people just have this idea that when they get started, that everything's going to be great, and especially you would know this being in it for 10 years now, if you have this imagination that everything's going to be great and you're not going to run into snags, and we're not talking about like 1 week snags. Sometimes we're talking about like 1 month snags where you're like off your shit. These things are going to happen. So if you're like thinking that everything's going to be great and it's going to be smooth sailing, I got news for you. Nikki's got some news for you. That's not the way it goes.
Not at all. Not at all. I feel like there's more downs than there are ups especially once you hit goal.
Yes.
It's almost, and something that I've noticed, with clients that I've had and everything, is so many people don't make it to goal.
Yes.
Or backslide from goal because they don't know what comes next. Fitness, your fitness journey can begin to define you. So what happens when you hit your goal? Like, what are you working towards then? And that's scary to a lot of people because, and that's something for myself too. And I think I kind of went through this a little bit earlier in the year. It's like, well, if I'm not working out all the time and I'm not meal prepping, who am I?
Right.
Because like especially like with my social media account or even like my poor neglected blog and everything, it's like, that's who I was. So it's like, if I'm not focused on that right now, who am I? And that's a scary thing for some people, because you latch onto something, you have a purpose. And then once it's reached, it's kind of that now what moment can be really scary, and it can cause someone to just be like, okay, I'm just going to fall off for a while. This way I still have a goal to work towards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it can definitely get kind of tricky there. It's it's making sure that, you know, when you get involved in something like this, that you don't make it your entire life. You got to have some other stuff to hang on to. So like you said, once you reach that goal, whatever that is, that it's not just like, oh, well, back onto this other shit that I was doing. So that way I always have this carrot that I'm chasing forever. It should never be like that. I think our goal, you know, we should be healthy, of course, but like, I think our goal should be, am I happy? Am I mentally happy?
Right.
You know, do I wake up and I'm not in pain every day? You know, those kind of things. That's more my metrics versus, you know, jumping on that scale or something like that.
Yeah, as it should be. And it's hard to figure that out, but I think it's really a crucial portion of the journey itself. It's just figuring out, you know, what is it that you're ultimately going for? And it, like you said, it shouldn't just be a number on the scale or a number sewn into the back of a pair of jeans or something. It needs to be more than that. It needs to be, like you said, waking up and not being in pain. Knowing that you can spend a day out walking and exploring a city or something and not feeling, you know, winded or like you need to rest constantly or, you know, anything like that. Just, I feel everyone just needs to get to a point where they can enjoy life without, you know, discomfort.
Sure. I mean, and speaking of which, I mean, I know you're like huge on traveling, and I've seen you on Instagram. You've done, you know, a good deal of traveling in these last 590 days or so. What has that done for your soul? You know, like that's got to do a lot of good for you.
It has. It's solidified the fact that I dislike New Jersey greatly and can't wait to move.
Well, and you got to face fuck some In-N-Out as opposed to the Five Guys, right? I saw some of that in your stories before.
Dude, if I could get some Five Guys fries with a double animal style,
yeah.
I can die happy. Like that's what I need.
Well,
and give me a Shake Shack shake with that, and then
man.
It's like the trifecta of crap food.
Yeah, no, yeah. On one of those days where you're like, okay, I'm okay with having this today. That would be a pretty awesome combination of things, because they all have like things that we like that we can pick from each little one. But I just imagine you like driving around town out there in California or something, and you're like, all right, I'm going to go here first. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here, and just trying to collect all those things to have that amazingly crazy meal.
My first trip to LA last year, it was one of those, okay, I'm going to pick you up at the airport. You know, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Go to In-N-Out. Like, I purposely I picked my flight because I landed at lunchtime, like right before the lunch rush, because In-N-Out gets really, really crazy at lunchtime. So yeah, I legitimately planned my flight around having In-N-Out for the first time because I knew that there was one right across from LAX.
I never even thought about it like that. I always like, especially if I'm flying on the West Coast, I always pick the earliest flight because I want the most time in the new place as possible, which can drive us batshit crazy, by the way, because like, oh God, I got to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning to get to the airport by like, I don't know, 5 or 6. So I can get on my 7 a.m. flight, and that can drive you nuts. But yeah, getting there to get there in time for lunch is some next level shit right there. I need to take that under advisement.
Yeah, I mean, they do open earlier, but there's just something about eating a burger before 11:30 that just feels a little wrong to me. I don't know.
I don't know. We might differ a little bit there. I think Gary of 2016 even would strongly disagree with that sentiment. You know, here's this leftover sub from last night, and it's amazing that there's even a leftover. Let's just eat it right now at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the level I used to be on.
Okay, so I was recently told that I believe the words were un-American because I don't believe in leftover cold pizza.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about it that I find disgusting.
Well, I will disagree with you. I'm not going to like fight you over it, but like when I was eating pizza, and we actually had this discussion, I remember on your podcast a couple of months ago, I would eat it cold. I mean, that wasn't my preference, but like, you order it the night before. I would eat like 4 on the night that I order it. Then the next day I'd have the leftover 4 and probably 1 or 2 while I'm waiting for the rest to heat up or eating cold, because hey, that ain't too bad. What don't you like about it?
I think it's just the way I'm so weird. Visually, I guess I eat visually first. So
Okay.
There's just something about the cold cheese, the way it looks like all plasticky on the tomato. It's just like, no.
Well, come on. You never ate like string cheese or something that's out of the refrigerator, or a slice of cheese even?
No, that I do, but that's different because string cheese is just fun to play with. And
Come on, Nikki. I mean, look, if somebody blindfolded you and handed you a slice of cold pizza, or let's just say not even handed you, because then you would know, but they cut off a piece and fed it to you, you probably wouldn't even know. You wouldn't spit it out. Come on.
I would spit it out. I would totally spit it out.
That's savage. That is savage.
I was that child who, when I ate dinner when I was younger, my food couldn't touch each other.
Oh my God. I'm not going to go too hard on you, because there was a time where I kind of did that. Like, like when we're kids, like sometimes we'd have like applesauce with something warm, but like it was on the same plate. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want my applesauce to touch my mashed potatoes or something.
Ew, because applesauce and mashed potatoes is gross.
Yeah, but once in a while they would like, they'd butt together a little bit. You're like, all right, let me like, you'd like, you wouldn't want to do it, but you're like kind of curious, like, all right, let me just scoop up a little bit of that. All right, let's try this out. And you're like, all right, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
I was such a picky eater. It's like I talk to people and they're like, I don't understand how you were so overweight. Like, you ate nothing.
How many?
I'm like, but the things that I did love, I went all in.
Sure.
And I ate.
How many of your elders, though, ever told you like, oh, it all goes to the same place? Oh
my God, I heard that all the time.
Yeah, me too. My grandmother used to give me shit about that. She was a lovely woman, but she would be like, it's all going to the same place. Don't worry about it. Just eat it. Be quiet.
Yeah. And it's like, no, I'm sorry.
Grandparents were stiff, man. They would tell you like it was.
Well, yeah, because especially if you look at how they grew up and everything, it's like we had no business complaining that the mashed potatoes were touching the applesauce. We needed to just be grateful that we even had mashed potatoes and applesauce.
Yeah, they were driving like wind up cars and shit from like the 1910s or something. Could you imagine like if somebody dropped you? We talked about the DeLorean earlier. Imagine if somebody just dropped you in like 1910 or something, like how you'd even process that.
Yeah, it's definitely, that would be interesting. I've always said I would love to go back and experience the 50s.
Okay, yeah.
I'm obsessed with that, or like Mad Men times, and so like late 50s, 60s, just from the fashion, the way of life, all that stuff is just super, super interesting.
Oh, I get that. I have this weird obsession with like the late 70s, early 80s for whatever reason. I mean, I guess probably more so because of the great music from that time. And like, well, they had all this great music. It must have been really cool to live back then, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely was not for the fashion.
No. Those people were on some other kind of level, man.
That was next level shit.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck was that guy wearing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's so funny. Like, even looking back at old photos from when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, what did you put on me? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, even early 80s with like the neon.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember like the bedazzled cat sweatshirts that girls would wear and stuff? It's
Yes.
like, what the hell? Like, how did that become fashion? I don't understand.
I still watch my share of like 80s teen movies because I just can't get over them, how much fun they are. Like a movie like Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey. And it's like all that stuff you're talking about. It's super present there. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I love all of those movies. Like Breakfast Club, like all
Yeah.
of that stuff. 16 Candles. They're
Pretty in
great.
Pink.
Yeah, Ducky. And his fashion sense. So interesting.
Those damn shoes.
Right.
Yeah. But even 90s though, like early 90s, even fashion was on like a different level there. You had like a lot of the neon was still present, but it was like presented in a different way. And you'd have like your Zubaz, like zebra pants and high top, like, you know, Nikes or Reeboks or so. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. It definitely, and now we're in this millennial stage of just kind of recycling old stuff, which is weird. I think that's my biggest issue with this time. Nothing feels original.
Oh yeah, it's always a throwback to something, or you know, something like that. I think that's true. Everything old is new again. I mean, we just had a fifth Rambo come out in the theaters, and although I enjoyed it, it's like that's the fifth fucking Rambo. What's going on? We don't have any new ideas.
Why is everything being remade? Like there was nothing wrong with the original one. Stop it.
No, okay, hold on. Are you in that camp? Are you like, oh my God, like I have family members that are like this and some friends. And it's like if they remake something, like suddenly they pretend as if the movie studio had like wiped the original out of existence. They get so offended. And like I subscribe to the logic of, you know, okay, I'll give it a chance. And I'm not talking about sequels. I'm talking about like legitimate reboots. Like I have people in my family, they get so angry, like they act as if the movie studio wiped the original from existence, that you can't just go and rent the old one or pop in a DVD. They act as if the old one is like completely wiped away.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that. I'm not necessarily fully open-minded to the new version of it immediately. Like I never even watched like the remake of Ghostbusters. I was just like, no, that should have never been touched. I'm like, no, I refuse. Like, no, leave it alone. And then there's certain things that I feel like they go back to after so long, and it's just like, why are we doing that? I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. Clerks is one of my favorite movies. I was not a big fan of Clerks 2. It all felt wrong because the original, what makes it so great is just the film style of it, the black and white, and then like to bring it to color and just like studio production felt weird. And now like they're making a third one and it's like, why?
I'm going to blow people's minds here. I've never even seen the original.
Okay. Now we need to really talk about our friendship.
Oh, okay. Now we have to talk about it.
I'm kidding.
Miss, I hate cold pizza.
Listen, Mr. Pizza Rolls with Ranch.
Yes.
I never judged you on that one.
There was nothing wrong with that. If you ask 3-year-old me.
3-year-old.
Or 3 years ago me, excuse me.
That was great.
Yeah. That was those were the times where you'd buy a 120 count bag and eat the whole goddamn thing over the course of about 25-30 minutes, soak them in ranch.
Wow. I never dipped a pizza roll in ranch, but I'm not a huge ranch fan. I only like them for wings. But I was a pizza roll fan. Pizza rolls are definitely, they contributed a lot to how I got to the weight that I reached. First, those little pockets of goodness.
You know what, though? I was thinking about the whole no pizza thing, and I know that you gave me shit for this. I think you might have been on Daryl or somebody else's podcast, and somehow I came up in this whole challenge that I'm on, and like you would give me a bunch of shit about like the no chocolate, no pizza thing, and it may make you crazy to think, but like I am at a point now where I'm like, I don't even know if I'll ever have it again. Like I don't even miss it even a little.
I don't understand.
Heather, no, hold on. Heather was eating some pizza rolls even in front of me yesterday, and she apologized. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? I'm like, you're essentially, this is going to make a lot of people think I'm crazy. I told her, I'm like, you're essentially eating Brussels sprouts in front of me right now. Like, I don't even give a fuck.
Wow. That's awesome. But like even when I was doing keto and everything, I was like, no, before I jump into this, I need to figure out how to make pizza work.
Yes. The cauli, were you doing like the cauliflower crust stuff or?
No, I wasn't doing that. I found a way to make a crust out of mozzarella cheese.
Oh,
and I
all right.
found low carb tortillas made really great, like super thin crust pizza. And this stuff called fathead dough worked for a more traditional style. But yeah, I've always been like that. There's just certain foods I refuse to ever give up on.
Sure.
So I have to figure out a way to make them work for whatever kind of meal plan I'm going after. There are staple items that have to be there. And that's just because of my mental and emotional connection to them. I'm not ready to break it.
Oh, definitely. The other thing I'll say about it, like, the running joke all year has been, oh God, take Gary's burritos away from him next year and let's see how he processes that. And I'm like, no, you're gonna have to fight me for that one. I'm not giving up my Mexican food next year. That's not something I'm going down. That's not a road I'm going to go down.
Okay. But what about, weren't you on like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich kick for a while?
I was, but you know what? I will do something to death. I will beat it into the ground until I'm sick of it. And then I just stop doing it.
Okay.
That's my biggest problem.
So, okay, no pizza, no chocolate. What else did you give up? Or
alcohol.
Were those the only, and alcohol? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't even like that. That is something like I haven't even thought of it. It was almost like soda to me. It was like something that before I quit it, I was having frequently. But now that I've like quit it, I'm like, that's not even on my radar. I was in Hooters last night, beer all around me. I didn't even give a fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird.
You were like, I have wings. I'm good.
Yeah, I did. God, I ate too much last night, but that was just a choice. And I'm okay with it. I'm completely fine with it. My 2 appetizers, 1 entree later. But the one thing I was going to ask you, because you had mentioned about when I was doing keto. So what are you doing now? I'm assuming you're not on the keto anymore.
No, I probably haven't done keto since right before my trip to Vegas. So I haven't done keto in almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I never did keto long term. It was always like little 3 to 4 month stints with it. I am not a believer in long term cutting out any form of macronutrient unless there's a medical reason for it. I definitely found out, well, I mean, I always knew my body preferred higher fat, lower carb, moderate protein. I definitely understand the scientific benefits to keto. I never really looked at it from the weight loss side of it, because I guess when I jumped into keto, I mean, I did it after I had that 30 pounds weight gain.
Right.
When I just was going through a really tough point and I needed something to kickstart me. And I was like so skeptical about keto. My gym partner at the time used it for medical reasons. He had rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
And following a ketogenic lifestyle helped him to manage that. And the weight loss was just the benefit of that. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I totally got it. I lost the brain fog and I had so much more energy. So it's like, yeah, I totally get it. How the foods that we are given are just, they're essentially poison to our body. They're over processed. They're full of sugar. And that stuff, it's just not what our bodies were meant to run on. So I honestly feel, I guess my philosophy behind food is everybody's body is set up to be genetically different as to what macronutrient percentage it needs. It's up to you to experiment and figure out what that is. And then listen to your body. Stick with whole foods. Stick with, carbs aren't the devil. They're not.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them as long as you're choosing the right ones. Like anyone who tells me I can't eat a sweet potato or a vegetable because it's too high in carbs, that's fucking insane. Especially because they'll be okay with like a Quest bar or some other kind of factory made thing because it doesn't have carbohydrates that are going to kick you out of ketosis.
Yeah.
That to me, I can't wrap my head around. Did I eat some of those bars and stuff? Yes. Because I had a goal and I was, trying to accomplish something. But overall, yeah, whole foods. Keep it to what our ancestors would have eaten. Some, like paleo, Whole30. Like when you really get into the science behind that stuff, it is what our bodies were meant to do. I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting.
Oh yeah.
It's just, when you look back at our ancestors and everything, there was no obesity.
No, this is true.
It's because there was feast or famine. It wasn't all or, it wasn't total access to things all of the time. They didn't get bored and walk into their pantry and say, hey, I'm going to have a bag of kettle chips. It's
No,
it was okay. We have antelope today. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, fuck, we only have, spinach. So
Yeah.
this is what we're going to eat.
No, I'm like slowly but surely trying to get to like the simplest lifestyle as possible. Like I feel like, especially Daryl and I will talk about this on our weekly Spark podcast, but like if you look at the health and fitness industry as a whole, their whole plan to making money is making this shit as confusing as possible to make products look as sexy as possible so that you'll want to take pictures and pose with them on Instagram stories. And I'm like trying to like keep it as simple as possible. Like I don't want to buy like anything, and I haven't in these 2+ years that I've been at this. I don't want to put any kind of like product in my body that is sold under the guise of enhancement or you need this to see results. I subscribe to the move a little more, eat a little less kind of philosophy, and just keeping it as simple. Like you're saying, like what are our ancestors eating and stuff like that, as opposed to here's all these sexy products. I want to get a shout out on this product's Instagram story. Maybe they'll send me a promo code or I can make a few bucks. Like I try to get away from that stuff.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I have my times where I do have certain products that I use. To me, it's do your research.
Sure.
Don't just pick a product because that's what people on Instagram are posting about. Do your research. Look into the company. What kind of ingredients are they using? Why should this fit into your routine?
Yeah.
When I go to the gym or I'm lifting weights hardcore and everything, because of my schedule, sometimes it's easier for me to make a shake, a protein shake, a post-workout shake.
Sure.
In order to fuel my body properly. And there's other times that I have the time to actually make myself a proper post-workout meal.
Yeah.
If I have to choose between the two, I'm going to make the meal.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not like, I've never been like one of those people that could put a, product on like auto ship or something because I, habitually, use it and everything. It's just, if I need it, it's there. If I don't need it, that's cool too.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about the people like you're saying that are not doing the research. They're just there because they want to potentially get a sponsorship or a shout out or something, They don't even, they don't know what they're putting in their body.
And it's like you said, it's tough. It has turned into a confusing industry. And in all honesty, there is absolutely nothing confusing about gaining back your health.
Yes.
What we do, the way that we confuse it and make things all complicated is by expecting it to happen overnight.
Oh God. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. There is zero magic pills. There are zero shakes that are going to get you there. The only thing that works is hard work. Stick with whole foods, like you said. Move more. eat less, and the progress comes. You have to have patience. It takes a long time.
Yeah, I think we're conditioned to think instant gratification. You know, Amazon delivers in one day now. God damn, I want my health in one day. You know, I just want it all to come together in one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary, like how quickly you can get something from Amazon now. My son was staying at his dad's and needed a new like mattress topper because he turned into the Princess and the Pea somehow, and his dad ordered it and he was like, oh yeah, it'll be here this afternoon. I was like, when the hell did that become a thing?
Oh, it is. If you order something early enough in the day on Amazon, and I mean, you can go as late as 4 or 5 o'clock, you could have it delivered by 10 o'clock that night, depending on what time you order it. You can even have it earlier. If you order in the morning, you can have it by the afternoon. Some products, they'll do 2-hour delivery. It's crazy.
That's insane. I'm still so old school when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, if I really need it, I need to, you know, put on pants and shoes and drive over to the store to go get it.
Yeah, no, I like that aspect of going out to get something. I mean, there are times where, you know, if they're cheaper, and sometimes Amazon, like I ordered an 8 terabyte hard drive like a year ago, and now an 8 terabyte hard drive should be north of $200 and probably $50 just because of how much terabytes that is. But Amazon said, hey, no, in 2 hours, we'll deliver this thing to you, and it's $108. And I'm like, this is something that I need because I have all this footage and all these pictures that I need to offload off of my devices. And 8 terabytes, I haven't even begun to fill this thing up. And for 2-hour delivery, $108, sign me up.
Yeah, no, you can't say no to that at all.
Yeah.
One of the other things that's really changed for me, you know, when you move twice, you tend to simplify the amount of stuff that you have.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
So yeah, I mean, that's been another huge thing for me as well. Just, you know, practicing that. Do I really need this type of lifestyle and everything? And that kind of came down to everything, like even my gym membership and stuff like that. I'm like, is it a necessity? Do I really need to have this right now? And kind of ebbed and flowed with going back to the gym over the last week and a half.
Right.
Haven't made the decision yet. I'm like, let's just get back into a routine, and see where I end up. But
I mean, and I'm sorry, no, you talk about like a lot of changes you make, you know, going back to the gym after being gone for so long, getting a new job, new relationships, just like on the surface level of all this, you know, trying to process all this. Like how is that like, how is taxing can that be on your mind when you're making when you have all these new moving parts?
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, which my new Saturday routine has been wake up, make coffee, clean the apartment, and bond with my couch.
No, that's good. I like that.
My couch and I have become best friends. Netflix is my sanity now. I used to be, and it's funny because I was just writing about this in my gratitude journal that I got back to doing this week. I used to be of a mindset that if I wasn't hustling and I wasn't working on something and I wasn't doing, I was wasting time. And it's a mindset that is easily picked up on with social media. We have, you know, Gary V's, Andy Frisella's, all of these people out there, and they're like, you got to hustle, you got to hustle, you got to work, you got to work, you got to work, but you do have to recharge.
Yeah. I will tell you this just real quick. I don't want to forget. I don't mean to cut you off. Gary V used to always say, I want to get into a world where like you guys stop watching my shit. You unfollow me. I actually did that. Over the summer, I finally got to a point where like, I think I'm good now. Thanks for the knowledge. I'm out. And I disconnected from a lot of those kind of influencer / entrepreneurial type guys and just try to follow my own direction. But yeah, when you said that reminded me of something, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And I did the same thing. Every now and then I'll go to their channels and I'll just scroll through and see if there's any kind of little nugget that I could use in the moment.
Sure.
But you have to you have to get to know yourself. You have to get to realize what you need, how you thrive. And it ties right back into fitness. It can't be about what everybody else is doing. Like, yes, you can use people for motivation. You can use people as inspiration. Like, if this person was able to achieve this kind of success, I can too. And that stuff is great, but you can't try to mimic every little thing
Oh,
to
so
a T,
true.
because you're not that person. Your day-to-day might be completely different from that person's day-to-day. So it's just really important that you cut yourself some slack. You take that time to rest, because burnout is real.
Oh my God. You're telling me.
I burned out hardcore beginning of the year. I was in full-fledged hustle mode. I was working at my current company, plus I was still working part-time at the coffee shop, plus I was still doing part-time freelance graphic stuff, plus I was doing freelance writing for someone else, and I was just on 24/7. And I burned out epically. Like, my body shut down on me. I got super sick. I couldn't get out of bed for days. And it's just like, that's a wake-up call.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what I experienced, in the last month or so. I hit a wall, got depressed, crashed and burned. I went like almost a month without filming one video. Luckily, these podcasts are like recorded so far in advance. Like, this won't even be heard till probably November, but like, or maybe the last week of October, one of the two. But, thank God I had those so far ahead. Otherwise I would have been screwed. 'Cause in my mind, I was just mentally drained. And actually doing these are like the one thing that gave me a little bit of light, was like connecting with people and talking with different people and getting to kind of hear their stuff. And that was kind of like this unexpected light that kind of, got me through a lot of this, so it's like, oh, hey, I get to talk to this person on this day, this person on that day. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the burnout can be real, especially if you let it.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because I know you and I are very similar, where we both have a goal. We have somewhere very specific we want to move to.
Oh yeah.
And that is still a goal for you, right?
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
And it's kind of like you get tunnel vision, and it's like, I have to work harder. I have to hit this goal. And you kind of get a little lost. At least I have, somewhat. And then I'm like, I just totally burn out. And then it feels 20 times harder, like, to crawl out of that hole to get back into things. But like you said, you have to look for those little aspects of it that you do enjoy. Like, oh, I get to talk to this person today, or, oh, okay, I get to, maybe re-listen to this old episode that I did to find a specific clip, or, whatever it might be. But yeah, it's all interesting. And when you are of a driven mindset, it's sometimes hard to shut off all of the ideas and all of the, you should be working on this. No, you should be doing that. No, we have to do this. And it's, you just need to shut off.
Yeah. 'Cause it was a lot like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, shutting off social media has become a huge thing for me too. Like, I don't have notifications turned on. It's like, when I have the time to check it, I check it. And that took a long time for me too. I'm like, am I going to hurt like relationships that I have with people doing that? Like, how does that play out with things, big picture? And I was like, for my sanity, it needs to be done.
Yeah. I took a month in the month of June, and it was probably one of the greatest things that I had ever done. The only side effect that I didn't like about it was that my engagement went to absolute shit. And there are times where I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. So if I have something that I think is helpful to people, and I put like a message out, I put like a lot of thought into what I'm going to say, and then 20 people see it, that can definitely be discouraging. It's not about just getting likes, but it's more about like, there was a point where I felt like I was reaching a lot more people. And so that was like kind of discouraging after doing that. But otherwise that month was amazing. Just kind of getting off of there and doing some different things.
Yeah. And it's like, no one's life should hinge on an algorithm.
Yeah.
which is what it comes down to. And it's like, you could have amazing engagement and they can just write a new algorithm and drop it in there and you have shit the next day. And that's, as a content creator, it's frustrating because you work hard to build relationships. You put a lot of effort into it. And then something so simple can just like derail that. But I think you've always had like this amazing core group. And I think as long as you keep that engagement with them, like they kind of help to spread the message and to get the word out there and stuff like that. But
yeah, I always appreciate the core group. You're definitely in that group of people. And I've always appreciated that because it got bad to a point where I had people that like would see everything that I posted that were DMing me and saying, hey, are you still posting? And then they'd go to my profile and see all these new stuff. And then you get that wave of like 30 likes of the last 30 that they missed. But like people were actually DMing like, hey, are you still doing this thing or what? And I'm like, no, I'm here. I posted like 3 times this week. What are you talking about? And Instagram, it's based on, who you're interacting with. So if you don't post anything, people aren't interacting with your stuff. And then when you post something, nobody sees it because they're not interacting with you. Or if you've decided to take a break, you're not interacting with them. And so the algorithm is not showing you each other's stuff. And that can definitely be a challenge. So I'm investigating like auto posting, like scheduling stuff just to like feed the algorithm, for lack of a better term. And then from there, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to find out how that works for you. I remember there was a time that like auto scheduling posts was like a big no-no because the algorithm could pick up on the fact that you were using a scheduler and then it wouldn't push your stuff out there because it wanted things to be more authentic. It's so crazy. It's like, I just want to get my message out there. I just want to connect with more people. It's like, why are you making this so hard?
Well, to be fair now, Nikki, they have rolled out something. I know you'll get this because you have all this stuff set up, but like for those of us with business, or if you're in my case, if you have a creator profile on Instagram and then also a page on Facebook, now they have this it's inside Creative Studio on Facebook and it's hard to find. I hate even getting on that page anymore, but they have this creator studio. And so now you can use their official website on Facebook to schedule posts to Instagram and schedule posts to Facebook. So damn it, if I'm going to use their platform, their website, they better not hide my stuff. So I've been testing that a little bit.
This is how out of the loop. I think I hate the fact that Facebook owns Instagram now because I can't stand Facebook.
Oh God. Yeah.
I like my pages, everything is just, they're so neglected because I can't stand going on that platform. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I always just took to Instagram. Like I forced myself to use Twitter. Actually, the first place I ever got started was Facebook. And that just felt like a family reunion. And it was like, no, thank you. And then Twitter was like the lunchroom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then Instagram rolled around and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then Facebook bought it. And I was like, fuck.
The greatest combination I found, Nikki, is uninstalling the main Facebook app, but keeping Messenger so people can get a hold of you. And then the Facebook Pages app, which is how you manage your business pages on Facebook. If you keep those 2 apps and wipe away the actual Facebook main app, that's a pretty good lifestyle to have if you're going to be on Facebook.
All right. That's good to know. Cause I feel like anytime I open up Facebook, it's just like all of these recommended posts that Facebook thinks I should be looking at. And
oh
it's
God.
like, no,
Yeah.
girl. It's like, no, I haven't. No, thank you.
Yeah, it can be a real pain in the ass. But when they roll out these new things like being able to schedule stuff with their specific software, and then also being able to reply to DMs on Facebook.com underneath the Pages manager, that's another thing that was kind of a nice change. So it's like now, like they've given me every reason in the world not to want to have the Facebook app on my phone, and I'm like, this is great. It's a great life to live.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you for the tidbits there.
Yeah.
So I know you have gotten back into the gym recently, or at least you've been posting more from the gym, right? So what does your routine look like now?
Right now, I am almost like forcing myself to dial back the cardio a little bit to get on these weight machines more, because forever in a day, I have always clinged to coming in there for 1 hour and just doing cardio for a straight hour and neglecting these weight machines that are going to be very helpful for my body, because Gary gets bored just sitting on these weight machines and doing his reps. So this week actually is starting a brand new schedule. So I'm going to be getting up at 3 a.m. every day now so I can go to the gym in the morning. So number one, when I would leave work at 3 p.m., I was driving an hour plus to the gym. And so I'd get there between 4:15 and 4:30, and I would be exhausted, sitting in Northern Virginia traffic and, dealing with all that traffic and just being tired in general, because I had been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, this is really just taxing on me. So I'd go in the gym and I would feel completely uninspired. I would still put in enough to maintain, and go home and be like, whatever. Now I'm going to start going to bed between probably 8 and 9 and getting my ass up at 3 a.m. and doing the gym in the morning when I'm my most alert and ready to go. And we're going to see how that works out for me. So when I get in there, I'm going to have a little bit more time. So instead of being tied to an hour, I'm probably going to have about an hour and a half. And that's going to allow me to go in there, get weights and get a little bit of cardio. But I'm going to try to limit myself to like 30 minutes tops on the cardio stuff and really put a renewed effort into the weight machines.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of my plan.
I like it.
Yeah.
3 a.m. Ouch.
I've been saying for months, if not years now, I am not getting up any earlier than 4 a.m. And here I am, starting a new plan and seeking discomfort, as the Yes Theory guys say, seeking discomfort and doing something completely out of my comfort zone and trying something all new.
Hey, whatever works, right? And you don't know if it works until you try it. So no, that's awesome. But I have to know, since I had brought up the whole peanut butter and jelly sandwich thing. What's the lunch of choice right now for you, Gary?
Oh my God, this is so boring. Think about all of our friends on Facebook that post these wonderful pictures of their food. And I don't care if they're like vegan, vegetarian, or they just eat regular food or whatever it is. And, they have these nice plates. We think of our buddy Arash. They have these nice, delicious looking plates, and they get tens of thousands of likes. It's wonderful. Gary, on the other hand, likes to have 2 hot dogs with no bun and just a little bit of ketchup. That's my lunch right now, because I got sick of everything else. And I think one Saturday I was looking for something to eat, and we didn't have really much in the house. We hadn't been grocery shopping yet, but we had these hot dogs in the fridge. I'm like, I'm going to make 2 or 3 of these, and suddenly like fell in love all over again with hot dogs. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to eat 2 hot dogs for lunch. And it sounds like a little kid's lunch, but that's just where I'm at. Like, none of the shit I do makes a lot of sense when it comes to the food at times, because it just sounds like the simple, like little kid type food, like, chicken nuggets or hot dogs is what I'm really on right now, or peanut butter and jelly or whatever.
That's hilarious. I love it. I also love the fact that you have ketchup with your hot dogs, because that's the only way I'll eat them. I don't like mustard.
Yeah.
Add that to my list of weird.
Nikki, come on.
I don't like mayo either.
Now, wait. Okay, where's this end button? I'm ending this call right now. Are you kidding me? Come on.
I am not kidding you. I am one of those people that if the mayo jar is blocking something that I need in the fridge, I will use something else to move it out of the way.
Oh my God. Now, I mean, if I'm going to face fuck Five Guys, I'm definitely going to have some mayo on that burger.
No.
Come on, dude. Our friendship is taking a real test today. I just want you to know that.
It really, really is. It's going to be another year and 7 months until you speak to me again.
So true. My God, man. No mustard, no mayonnaise.
Nope.
Oof. The breakfast, let's just round out the day. The breakfast is cereal in a 12-ounce coffee cup. I have Raisin Bran that I really love right now with my reduced fat milk. And that's delicious. I'll have a cup of that every morning.
So old man cereal, toddler lunch.
Old man cereal. Come on. Raisin Bran is the shit, especially if you get the crunchy one that has like the little extra oats crunchy stuff in it. That's the best. Are you kidding me?
Raisin Bran just reminds me of old people.
Oh my God. Okay, then give me your suggestion for cereal then. Go ahead.
No, I can't, because all of the cereal that I would want to eat is all of the stuff that we shouldn't eat. So
well, you still got to give me at least the name of one. Now I want an example of like Nikki's example of, okay, Gary, your cereal's uncool, but my cereal is cool. So what is that cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay. Well, I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm not going to fight you on that.
It has to be, it's either Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something chocolatey. Like, it's October right now, so if I had to pick a cereal, it would be Count Chocula.
I can't have chocolate. You're not helping my situation here.
I'm sorry.
I did buy some berry Cheerios, though. Is that old man too?
No, I'm not into fruity cereal either, though.
I like how we just jumped on this podcast. Like, fuck it, let's just fight each other for an hour.
Yeah, let's just talk about whatever.
We're gonna argue over food. I love this. This is great. Let's keep it going.
But like, what now? See, now I'm curious, because we start out the day as an old man.
Yeah.
Then we're toddler for lunch. So where do we fall? Like, are we a true adult for dinner, or?
Well, it's so basic. It's usually like there's a turkey burger in there some nights. No bun. I don't do the buns anymore. But I still put the cheese and the mayonnaise, Nikki.
Cheese, yes. Mayo, no. Okay.
So the turkey burger or a chicken patty with some green beans and some mashed potatoes. Because I'm not giving up my mashed potatoes. You're going to have to fight me for that. I'm not giving that up. But that kind of rounds out the day. Again, it's like very specific, very simple. That most people look at like, oh God, you eat that stuff every day. Yes, I do. I'm a creature of habit. I will eat it until I get sick of it. And I will find something new to annoy you people with that I like to eat that is, does not fit the traditional, meal, these cute meals that look great in pictures. I would love to take a picture of my hot dogs on the plate that I just microwaved in my office that have like the juices all over the plate, and it just looks probably disgusting to some people. And there's like the little glob of ketchup. It's like, here's my basic simple man lunch. Go ahead and like this. I challenge you, people, because you're liking all these like colorful, like well thought out hour to prepare plates, and I'm just sitting here with like these sloppy looking hot dogs or this cereal in a coffee cup.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be like, take that, Arash.
Yeah,
it's my lunch. Look at my lunch. Who would want to eat yours when they can have this?
Well, okay, now you got to pick on me a little bit. Give me an idea of like one breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you. Then let's hear what your bright idea here. So let's get this brilliance.
I typically fast through breakfast. If I did have breakfast, though, it depends on if I'm in the mood for something sweet or savory. If it's sweet, it's some kind of either like protein French toast or waffle, and there has to be some kind of bacon involved.
Okay.
If I'm in the mood for something savory, it's typically like scrambled eggs with spinach and cheese and of course bacon. Lunch varies. I've been on a Mexican kick with things. So like last week I had meal prepped the stuff for fajitas. So chicken fajitas with peppers and onions. And I had made some yellow rice to go with that.
God. You're not giving me much to fight you on here. I'm just like, damn it. I want to like hang out with you for a week so I can just like mirror whatever you're having. This all sounds delicious. I wanted you to give me some material I could pick on you with, and you're not helping things here. We're going against the grain here.
I'm visual when it comes to food. Yes. And I like, I can't say no to Mexican food, like ever.
Me either.
I'm equally as bad at saying no to Italian food. So
oh, yummy. Yes, I love my Italian food.
Yes. So I do try to limit my pasta intake because as much as I love carbs, my body is not the biggest fan when I overdo it with the carbs. I just get super lethargic and like I go into bum mode.
Right.
And I get really bad headaches too. Like I get that bad brain fog and everything. So I'm like, that's a sign I need to, it's like my body's signaling me like, dude, back off on this stuff. So
yeah. I hear you on that. And then round out the day. What's a average dinner, or does it change every single day?
It depends. So, my son is not the most adventurous eater in the world. I think the two of you would get along awesome.
I would agree.
It's like chicken fingers. Like he's all into like chicken nuggets, chicken fingers, some kind of pasta, macaroni and cheese. Like he's a typical 15-year-old kid.
You've created an awesome, smart young man. I like this. You've created a great person here. I don't disagree with any of it.
He's always down for Taco Tuesday because that's a thing here. And then Pizza Friday is also a thing.
All right. Well, I'm going to disagree with that side, but you had me up until pizza. Go ahead.
Well, that's only because you made the decision to give it up. Okay. So you made a choice and now you have to live with it.
Yes. Until January 1st at midnight, or just keep going. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah. You never know. Like you said, this stuff looks like Brussels sprouts to you now. So
yeah, how many people are just like, what in the world's going on? Like, who is this guy? And what have we done with the old Gary?
If you post a photo of pizza in 2020, I'm going to be like, Gary, those Brussels sprouts look amazing. How did you prepare them?
Yeah, that's so, well, to be fair, that's the pizza rolls, I said, is what look like Brussels sprouts to me, not necessarily pizza. So we'll see. I'm going to catch you on a technicality here. All right.
All right. Yeah, but you haven't touched pizza rolls in so long.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't touched. Okay. So I gave up pizza, New Year's Eve night. That was my last meal of pizza right before the 2019. But before that, the pizza rolls, I hadn't had those for like months before that. Cause if I just wanted pizza, I would go get pizza. So God, pizza rolls has been even longer. It had to been like, almost a year and a couple of months, some change there. So that's been a while.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Good times. Yeah. But dinner for me typically is, some kind of protein and a vegetable for the most part. Like tonight, it's going to be pork chops, and I have some asparagus that I'm going to roast up. So,
okay.
It's nothing exciting. I mean, I try to make it fancier with seasonings and stuff like that, but it's, when you're cooking for yourself primarily, it's kind of like, whatever.
True that.
There's plenty of nights that I come home from work and I'm just like, I would be totally okay with a frozen waffle or a bowl of cereal right now. It's just like, I'm tired. I can't be bothered with this stuff, whatever. But
I hadn't had cereal in forever and I'm like all back in now.
Yeah, because like you said, you haven't had it in forever. So now you're like, oh my God, how did I cut this crunchy goodness out of my life?
Well, I didn't even cut it out like intentionally. It wasn't one of these like challenges. I was like too lazy to make it.
How are you too lazy to pour cereal into a cup or a bowl? Dude, that's next level.
That is next level. I'm not going to argue on that one. That's true. I was just like, I just, for whatever reason, it just seemed like too much work. I got to go cause I go shopping in my mornings on my way to work, like once every couple of weeks. I'm like, oh, I got to buy milk. I got to buy cereal. Ugh, this is too much work. And
I have to take turns pouring each one into a bowl, and then I have to lift the spoon to my mouth. This is just, how do people do this on a daily basis? I don't understand.
I know, right? I know. This is just madness.
But I do have to point out that it takes more effort to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich than it does to pour cereal and milk into a bowl.
That is surprisingly a lot more effort. So the fact that I was bitching about having to make cereal really doesn't make any sense, but
Unless you're a savage that uses like the same knife in the jelly and the peanut butter container.
Oh, no. I already got that
Or do
handled.
you have the squeezy? Do you have the squeezy jelly? This way you don't have to worry about dirtying the second knife.
There you
or
go.
washing the first one. There you go.
Well, the hell with washing. I'm the kind of guy where I got plastic forks and knives and paper plates. Like, fuck all that washing shit. I don't do all that.
So you're single-handedly killing our environment. Okay, I see how it is now, Gary.
I'm just finding new things to torch on our friendship here. Just going to burn the son of a bitch to the ground.
Are you using a 12-ounce foam cup for your cereal?
No, it's not a foam cup. It's I guess it would be a paper cup, whatever those Dixie cups, those insulated Dixie cups that you see in every office building.
Okay. All right.
I hope that's okay with you.
No, I just like giving you a hard time. It's kind of my specialty.
Yes, I'm picking up on this now as we're a little bit over an hour in. And I just want to say I do appreciate your time. I got one or two more things and I'll release you back to your life here. But let me to kind of put on a bow on some of the stuff where we're catching up on old times here. What's the status of your T-shirt store? Where are we at with that? It was something that was very prominent when we talked the last time.
The status of my T-shirt shop is neglected.
I'm right there with you, by the way.
It's actually one of the things that I have referred to in my podcast about. There are 4 items on my 2019 list that I have not attended to yet, and one of them was revamp the shop.
Yes.
And I got seriously frustrated earlier this year when the company that I go through to do this discontinued the T-shirt that I basically designed all of my designs around. Just the color, the feel, the comfort, it was gone. I got mad. I'm Italian. I'm holding a grudge. I was just like, fuck this. I'm mad. I'm just going to not focus on this for a while. But yeah, one of the things I actually have on my list for this week is to go through things and do a couple of promos and just see where things fall with the T-shirt shop. I took a lot of the things down that I had. I started out with one vision and then kind of let myself flow with what everyone else was saying I should do or was looking for, and the shop just ended up this big mess of stuff that I wasn't happy with. So yeah. I took the majority of the stuff down except for the stuff that I still felt passionate about. Yeah, so the shop is still in existence. It just hasn't been promoted or updated and stuff like that. So
I hear you. I'm right there with you, buddy. That's that is something I need to dial back in, because I'm just like, good God, what am I doing? And I will tell you, I still think about you every time my wife still wears that shirt. I work out because punching people is frowned upon. So
yeah, that one I feel in my soul, especially when I'm at work.
Amen to that. Amen. Another thing on my list here was to pester you about coming to Cincinnati next year, which is exactly what you should not do. You should not pester your friends. But
no, that's okay. Everybody does.
Yeah. All the friendly plugging. Hey, everybody, come on out to Cincinnati. It's like, no, fuck that. Hey, you're my friend. Are you coming or not? Damn it.
Yeah. So Crystal asks me all the time. Actually, she's at the point now where she's like, you have to come.
Yeah.
Daryl has brought it up a couple of times. I really wanted to make it to this last one, but logistically with starting where I was with work, and I had just moved and everything, and it was my birthday weekend. It's just something I wasn't able to make happen. I do have it on my list to try and make it work out this time. So yeah, I'm definitely hoping to, because there's so many amazing people that are attending who I talk to on a regular basis, who I would just love to be able to meet in person.
Well, here's the beauty part of this, Nikki. You have 6 months, 24 days, and 12 hours until Flying Pig. So with
Damn
that being
you
said,
and your calculations, sir.
that one, to be fair, I actually had an Instagram, one of those Instagram countdowns that I'd already created. So I literally just jumped into my story real quick to create a picture so that I could place it there just for a second to look and see. And in fact, you have all that time. So literally, I think all your excuses, I'm just going to write those out from underneath of you. And you have a lot of planning time, my friend.
Thank you for pointing that out to me, Gary. I would be lost without you.
Yes, exactly. I think you would be. So that actually goes into my final question here of this wonderful podcast that I've enjoyed doing. So besides registering for the Flying Pig using code Gary10, what are some of your 2020 plans looking like next year?
2020 plans are, I actually started thinking slightly about them. My biggest 2020 plan is to form a plan to get me out of the state of New Jersey.
There you go.
That's one of my biggest things. It's something that I really need to figure out how I want to do it so I could start reverse engineering the stuff that I need to be doing on a month to month, week to week, day to day.
Yes.
To make that happen. So that is my big thing. Smaller things, pick a couple of places that I have not been yet that I have been wanting to go to and just make it a priority to get there. One of my biggest ones is also to plan a trip outside of this country.
That could be a big one.
I had a passport, got it 10 years ago with the intent of doing a trip up to Montreal, Canada, which is only a 6-hour drive from where I am. Why I could not make that happen over the course of 10 years is something I ask myself all the time, but the passport has been renewed. I have 2 people who would love to do the trip up to Canada. So that one I definitely want to make happen. And I have been wanting to go to Italy for years.
Yeah.
So I want to start doing my research to see how much that is actually going to cost and how I can make that happen. So yeah, outside of that, when it comes to the health and fitness stuff, just stick to doing the things that I know work for me. I'm not setting any big, lofty fitness goals. I don't have a reason to at this point.
Yes.
It's just to keep moving forward, just to keep putting one foot in front of the other and to, at the very least, maintain the progress that I've made and to figure out how to make life just be balanced. So yeah, that's nothing crazy, nothing exciting. How about you? 2020? What's on your list?
God, I haven't even made that list yet, Nikki. You really just put me on the spot there. I don't appreciate that.
Good, because you put me on the spot and I had to come up with stuff really fast. So let's go, buddy.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I want to continue making videos and not disappear for a month like I did with that. So that's one goal. I do want to travel out of the country. So that is hinging on me getting a passport. I never had one. And so I need to get one. That was actually one of my goals, I think, on the podcast I did of goals for 2020 that I did not achieve. And so actually in Canada, they have, you know me, I'm a big theme park guy. They've got a roller coaster in Toronto that they just opened this year that I was planning on going to, never made it to. And I think Toronto from here is like an 8 to 10 hour drive. And if I can drive 8 hours to Charleston, why can't I drive to Toronto? So what the hell? Why not? I did finally recently make it to Cedar Point in Ohio, Sandusky, and that's like a 7-hour drive. So I made that happen. I think I can make this happen just as easily. So I'm going to piggyback off your idea of traveling out of the country. That's probably the top one that I want to do, and travel for more of these podcasts, much like we did in 2018. I want to do at least, I want to say, a goal of 5-person face-to-face podcast, because I think this year I did maybe 2 or 3 tops. So I want to do more face-to-face stuff, because that's kind of like the bigger goal of like eventually becoming a traveler in a full-time capacity and meeting more people face to face, because introverted Gary, we're trying to get away from introverted Gary. So a lot of my goals are hinging on that and getting out of that comfort zone as quickly and as painfully as possible. Let's get uncomfortable here.
Right. Yeah. That's the only way to grow. Right.
Exactly. So we'll end on this. I challenge everybody to find something that is out of your comfort zone. Think about what that is. Number one, maybe you already know what it is. Maybe you're not sure, you hadn't thought it out yet. Find that, whatever that number one thing is, and figure out a way to get out of it and do it. How about that? Yeah.
Love it. I think it's great. It's definitely a great place to start.
Perfect. Well, how's the rest of your Sunday looking?
I have some work that I need to do. And I woke up with a sore throat, runny nose type of thing. So I will just be chugging tea and, Halls, because I actually need to travel into New York City tomorrow for a meeting. So I need to make sure that I feel better.
Amen to that. Well, get the hell off this podcast and go make yourself feel better. But all joking aside, look, it's been phenomenal talking with you again. We may or may not have just gone longer than our other one, so that there's that. And we'll leave it on this. Tell the people wherever you want them to go, check out all the stuff that you're doing. And yeah.
Right now, I am predominantly active over on Instagram, mainly up in my stories. I feel like it's one of the better places to actually interact with people. So you can find me on Instagram at Bronc787. That is BRONC 787. I also have a podcast that I struggle to do.
Where's that on the goals list next year? Where's that on the goals list?
Hey, I've been setting little goals of doing at least one weekly solo podcast that I have been managing to do. They're short. I ramble. I say a lot. If you want to check that out, it is the Nikki Hynes podcast. It's available on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Gary. Thank you. We need to definitely not wait a year and 7 months to at least catch up with each other again.
I agree. We'll make that a goal, to bug each other in the DMs. Cause for a while we were really good at that. And I think our schedules kind of got in the way and we just drifted at somehow on that, but we'll get back to that. And, we will hang out at the Flying Pig next year. Code Gary 10. Come see me, folks. Come see Nikki. She's going to be there. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. But in all seriousness, thank you so much. I really do value our friendship, and it's been a blast catching up with you. And thanks for spending some time with me this morning.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Feel better, my friend.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a little thing called Patreon? Well, I'd love to have you join me. But Gary, what is Patreon? It's a website that is helping small creators like me raise funds to further expand their creative visions. For as low as $1 a month, you can help me further my dream of reaching as many people as possible and eventually taking the show on the road to meet all these fine people face to face and add a video element to this podcast. If you were to donate $4 a month, you'd be hearing the show a few days earlier with no commercials and getting access to my close friends group on Instagram. Donate $10 a month and you get all that plus your name right at the beginning of the show alongside other producers. But act fast. That tier is limited to 10 people. I've got a whole lot more to offer, and you can get all the details over at patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for checking out the show, and I'll talk to you again really soon. hardworkalwayswins.com. It's more than just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I'd love to have you join the Hard Work Squad. We're constantly adding new items to the store, including our brand new Future-ish hats, which come in a variety of colors, including camo. I mean, who doesn't like camo? We also just put our famous Splash logo in gold to match our OG logo, and there's so much more here. You just got to check it out. Here's the best part. Use the code PODCAST at checkout to take 10% off of your very first order and join the Hard Work Squad today.